Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your man Simeon, aka Simbo, aka Mr. Chicago. I got a few names, but I'm super excited. I'm super excited to be here. Turn my music down a little bit. I was jamming to Sino. I was jamming to his music and just having a little fun. But I'm super excited to be here. Welcome to the Simeon Henderson Show, where we are giving a voice to the people. I hope you guys are ready for a super dope show today. It's been pretty cool. Things have been going on. We've been watching basketball, fighting. There's been a lot going on in the political world, a lot going on with the violence in the city and in the country. But what we want to do here is we want to give you a chance to learn a little bit more about what's going on in the world with you, how you can better yourself, how you can better your business, how you can be a better professional, a better person. We want to inspire, motivate, and educate you to simply be your best. And how do we do that? We bring people on the show that are doing it at astronomical rates, and they are doing great things, and they inspire to educate people. So that's what we're about. I got to give a shout out to my executive producer, Jamani Anamdi, my producer, Jose Perez, and my creative director and producer, Mr. Shelton Smith, our very own Chicago fly guy, who brings us the top 5 things that you need to know every week on the Simeon Henderson Show. It's going to be super dope. I have a great guest lined up for you. I'm going to introduce her as soon as I come back. But you know how we kick off the Simeon Henderson Show. We do it a little something like this. And make sure you share this with your friends because we have a great guest. Let's go.
Ain't no stopping now, it ain't no stopping now. Ain't no stopping now, there ain't no stopping now. Ain't no stopping now, it ain't no stopping now. Ain't no stopping now, it ain't no stopping now. This what you wanted, cause ain't no turning back. This what you wanted, cause ain't no turning back.
All right, everybody, you're watching the Simeon Henderson Show, where we're giving a voice to the people. Sometimes you have technical difficulties, but you get right through them. That just happened to us, but we're not going to let that stop us. We're going to keep moving. Technology can be so fickle sometimes, right? It could be right on point, and sometimes you can have a glitch, but we have no glitches in the Simeon Henderson Show because we bounce back, and that's what life is about, bouncing back. And speaking about bouncing back, I want to talk to you really quick about tonight's guest. The Simeon Henderson Show is super excited to sit down with attorney April Preyar. Now, April is a defense attorney and has been practicing law for 21 years. She's a proud graduate of Duke University and George Washington University Law School. Now, attorney Preyar is the creator of the Just Us Junkie educational platform. Additionally, attorney Preyar is teaching families the law. Now, with her creative invention of the Trials and Triumph board game. Attorney Preyar's most popular video garnered 1.2 million views within a short span of 24 hours. 1.2 million views. That must mean that she's doing something great and she knows what she's talking about. So without further ado, let's welcome her to the Simeon Henderson Show and let's pick her brain and see how she can help us be our best and get to the next level. Here she is, everybody. Without further ado, April. How are you?
Well, hello, Mr. Chicago. I am great. How are you?
I am so good, and I am so excited to have you on the show. Beautiful teeth, by the way. Your teeth are so bright.
Thank you.
I tell everybody, a smile can light up a room, and it can change people's attitudes. And that's why I love it when you smile, because you know that. So I want to get into it. Right? We know there's a lot going on in the world, but I think one of the things that we have to remember as people, you can't be the keeper of knowledge and not help people. So when you're put in a position where you have knowledge that can help someone grow, I think that's a seed that you need to sow, right?
Yeah.
So let's get right into it. Talk to us about what inspired you, first of all, to study law.
Oh, well, I always have to think about that question. I really was at the end of college and didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. And I figured I could go hide out for 3 years in law school. I didn't realize it came along with a $200,000 price tag. So that wasn't
Wow.
the best reasoning at the time. But I figured it was a good place to be able to use my natural gifts, which are speaking and writing, as opposed to other disciplines that I had looked at in the past. And I went to law school and I hated it. I hated every moment of it except for my criminal law class. And so I just started taking classes along that track, learning more about criminal law, got a internship at the Public Defender Service in DC, which is the best in the nation. And then after I graduated, I knew that that was the only type of law I really ever wanted to do. And I've stayed true to that for almost 22 years.
That's cool. That's cool. So when you talk about being a lawyer, right? You're talking about a lot of schooling, a lot of studying. And I look at it this way. You know, I'm an actor, and memorization. You have to remember these laws and all these different things in order to pass. What was it like for you being in law school? Was it rigorous? Was it tedious? Was it overwhelming? What was it like going to law school? Because, you know, we have kids that are going to watch the show that inspire to be lawyers, or even adults that inspire to be lawyers.
It was really different. It was the first time I had really struggled academically, because in law school, unlike high school, elementary school, college, you usually have midterms. You can usually do extra credits, you usually file papers, all these different things. But in law school, you only had one test per class that determined your whole grade. So if you were having a bad day on the day of your finals, or you hadn't gotten enough sleep, or you were feeling sick, or whatever it was, or somebody in the class knew the topic better than you did, everything was graded on a curve. So you could end up with a lower grade. You put in as much time as they did, but they expressed it differently than you. They wrote it out better than you did. They expressed it better than you on paper. You could end up with a lower grade. So that was just really hard for me to grasp, because I had always excelled academically. And I was in school in DC. I'm from Chicago. I love Chicago, and I missed home. I didn't have any friends there. I didn't have a support group there. You know, all my friends from college were scattered across the country, so I didn't even have that. And so it was a very lonely experience for me. So I always say I hated the 3 years of law school. That's not to deter somebody else. You might have a very different experience than I did. But for me, it was just the means to an end, because practicing law, in my opinion, is absolutely nothing like law school itself.
But hey, you did it. You did it and you finished.
I did it.
You did it and you finished. So let's go into some of the things that you're doing. Now, you recently had a video that got 1.2 million views in 24 hours.
Yes.
Please tell us about that.
Okay, so it was actually very shocking. So I just shot it with my phone in front of 26 in California, which is the main criminal courthouse here. I had kind of planned out what I wanted to say, and I just came up with 4 R's that people could remember if they ever got stopped by police while they were on foot. The video was less than 2 minutes long. I'm just kind of looking windblown coming out of court. And I posted it, and it was posted on Facebook. It ended up somehow on World Star Hip Hop. Somebody spliced it and put it on IG. It was all over the place. And I looked up, and the numbers just kept going up and going up and going up, and the comments kept going up and going up. And all I said was 4 things not to do if stopped by police. And it was: don't run, don't reach, don't resist, and don't run your mouth. And then I explained each one briefly. And it just took off. And what it made me realize is this is something we're not taught in school. And oftentimes when parents sit down to give us the talk, they give out wrong information. A lot of times it's based on, their beliefs that you should just tell the truth. Just tell the truth. And the truth will set you free. No, the truth will send you to prison. So please stop talking.
Not only send you to prison, the truth will get your head busted.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry.
Exactly. And so I realized that this wasn't taught anywhere. And so after that video, because it got such a crazy response, I started doing pretty much weekly videos. And I
Yes.
would do all kinds of topics. And every time I posted, I would be amazed at how the general public just didn't know this information.
Right.
And after doing that for several months, I realized I was reaching my peers. I was reaching people who were my age. I was not reaching their kids, who were the ones who were more likely to find themselves in bad situations, find themselves pressured by groups into doing bad things. And so I developed a board game, because at the time, this was pre-COVID, and I wanted to reach kids while they were trapped for 5 hours. They're in school and they want to break from their geology class. They want to break from, listen to Mrs. Jones rattle on about algebra. And so I wanted to be able to catch them where they were and let them have an experience, let them see real life examples in a non-threatening way so that they could get it and walk away immediately knowing what to do.
That's what I'm talking about. So let me ask you this. When you did that, I know you didn't expect for it to go viral like that.
No.
But I think the fact that you were genuine and you really was just trying to get some pertinent information out to people that was important, that you really thought but know they should know. And I think the way you presented it is what captured people and brought them to it. But then they just start listening to it and just start sharing it. And but that's what I mean about being the keeper of knowledge. A lot of people get in trouble because they don't know their rights, they don't know what to do, and they don't know how to react. Right. And I used to be a cop.
No, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? I was a
No.
Chicago cop for 7 years. I'll have to pop up the picture. I got the picture here so I can pop it up. I popped it up on the show. But I really appreciate what you're doing. So that brings me to my next question, which is about your Just Us Junkie educational platform. So what is that about?
So that was spurred as a result of that one video. So I came up with a moniker, and I was like, I was gonna be Lady Justice, then I was gonna be Lady Law, and every time I Googled those terms, they were already taken. So I was like, okay, what can I do to be creative? And I thought, just thinking about like addicted to justice, but I like the phrase, there is no justice, there's just us. And that speaks to the fact that Black and brown people have just been targeted by the justice system. We have been, completely abused by the justice system. And so I wanted to change that paradigm and flip it on its head and kind of do a wordplay. And so it's the Justice Junkie, but I spell it JUSTUSJUNKIE. And so after that, like I said, I started posting the videos and it drew traction. And after a while, I started getting asked to speak in different schools and churches and nonprofits. But I realized, like I said, I woke up one day and I realized that I could create a tool that could go places I couldn't go. That could be, like I was telling somebody the other day, my largest group of customers outside of the Chicagoland area is in California. And I literally know 2 people in California. So I don't know how that happened, but the game has gone places that I don't go, and it can reach teens and tell them instantly, okay, this is what I should do when a cop stops me, and this is what I absolutely should not do. Because we know young people are inclined to take off running. They're like, I'm going to outrun this cop. He's my dad's age or older. I'm going to jump over a couple fences. I'm going to be out of here. Not realizing they can't outrun the radio. And so I wanted to have a tool and let them see themselves in these different situations instead of me trying to explain or even trying to role play with them. So the game has 54 real life scenarios. And then I did an expansion pack, which has 25 more. So they can actually see themselves in 79 different real life scenarios, traffic stops, foot stops, you're walking down the alley, you get stopped outside of school, whatever it is, they can picture themselves in it so that they don't have to remember a bunch of stuff. I don't want to inundate people with information. They can literally say, wait, this seems familiar when they find themselves in that situation, and say, I don't know exactly why, but I don't think we should go left. I think we should go right.
That's great. And I have to mention this really quick. So you said 2 people in Cali. Now 3. Dr. Shirley Ferguson is watching. She's from Cali. If you see up on the screen, it says Cali. Hey, Dr. Ferguson, how are you? Cali is in the house, the Bay Area, whatever you at, out in, and it's so. But I really appreciate what you're doing, because it's one of those things where when you can do something relatable and engaging, that's what's going to make the difference. Because we know how people are. People are on TikTok, Instagram, and all of that. The foolishness always catches everyone's attention, and they focus on it. But we need to educate them about how they can change some things. And
Yeah.
talking about that, you went to Duke University, right? Duke
Yes.
University. So if you're a little black boy like me from the west side of Chicago, the only thing you know about Duke University is they've always had an awesome basketball. Look, they've always had an awesome basketball team. So let me ask you this before I ask the question I want to ask. Did you ever go to the games at Duke?
I went to one game my senior year. We played UNC. Yeah, because you had to people would camp out for weeks. And I mean sleep on the concrete in a tent just to be tickets were free, but you had to stand in line for like this lottery. I was like, right. I'm not doing that. I like basketball, but I don't like basketball that much. And so it was the one day that my friend found a workaround and we didn't have to lay out on the concrete, that I was actually able to go to the game. And it was great. It's just funny because the gym looks so huge on TV. And when you're in there, you're like, this is like a high school gym. But it was a lot of fun, a lot of energy, especially since we played our, arch rival UNC. So that was a lot of fun.
So I have to ask this question. And I know you're probably like, how'd you know that? Well, I know we know everything here on the Simeon Henderson show. So going to this high profile college, and it's immaculate. And it's not only huge for basketball, but it's huge for education as well. It's a pristine and stellar university. What was it like for you being featured as an alumni in the Duke magazine?
You do know everything. That just happened. It was a really full circle moment. And so I was so excited that they were willing to feature me. They did the story some time ago. It just didn't get released for several months. And it was such a nice spread, 2 full pages. They interviewed friends of mine who had played my board game and got quotes from them. So it was a really great honor to be in the magazine. And I was so happy to finally get my copy last week.
So speaking of the game, that means I have to play the game. So you have to tell me how I can get the game. So I have to play the game.
Yes, you have to play the game. Former police officer. Yeah. I want to hear from a former police officer. I've had police officers play and they just crack up. They have a ball. They were like, this is absolutely on point. But you take the scariness out of it. You take the threat out of it, and people can actually laugh and be like, oh, what? I got popped with guns and drugs? What? Wait a minute. I'm going to jail. And these kids, you see their eyes light up because there are 2 tracks. There's the world of possibilities where you graduate high school, you buy a puppy, you get your first home, you go to medical school, ups and downs of life, your computer breaks. And along the way, there are flashing lights. You can land on flashing lights. That just means you have police contact. So maybe the police contact means that your tail light is out and you get a warning and sent on your way. Or it means your car matches the description for one that was just using a drive-by shooting. You don't know until you pull a card, a flashing lights card, and it tells you. And if you get arrested, then you end up in the world of trouble. And that's that endless loop of not being able to make bond. The judge goes on vacation. The state's attorney doesn't have your discovery. And you're stuck there. And kids immediately get, well, wait a minute. I just graduated medical school and I'm in jail. They're like, I just lost my house. They get it. They have these aha moments and they freak out because they're stuck on that track while their friends are breezing past them, living their best lives, headed to triumph.
So what I'm going to do, a good friend of mine who I went to high school with, he's actually done some acting with me, but he's a cop. His name is Roger Washington. He said, you're truly inspiring, and this show is amazing. Thank you, Roger. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm put Roger on the spot, and I'm going to let you know what I'll do. I'm going to play the game, but check this out. I'm going to get at least one cop, probably Roger, maybe one other one. I'm going to get an ex-drug dealer, and I'm going to get an ex-gang member.
I love it.
And probably say, how many people can play at once?
It says 4 to 6, but I've had up to 8 kids play at one time.
Okay, so I'm going to have 5 to 6 people, and I'm going to have someone from each walk of life.
I love it.
And I'm going to record us playing the game.
Yes, awesome.
Record us playing the game. So you know what that means? So we have to set up. You're going to have to be there.
Okay, let me
Well,
know.
no, maybe you'll be the sixth person.
Yeah,
Have you ever played
that
the game
works.
with anybody? Have you ever played the game with
I
anyone?
have, but I so rarely play the game. I'm always facilitating, and so I've only played it like a couple times.
Okay, so well then you can do both. You can play and facilitate, or you can choose what you want to do.
Yes, that sounds great. That sounds great.
So we just talked. We just talked about you. You're answering my questions as we go. And one thing about this show, there's certain questions I have to ask, or my producer will chop off my head. Sheldon will chop my head off if I don't ask these questions. But
Good job,
as a
producer.
professional with a career in law, what would you recommend become a best practice for the city of Chicago that might help prevent some of the violence? Because you're in there, you go to court, right?
Yeah.
You go to court, or you've seen the different things that's going on in the city with our violence. What do you think can be some of the best practices to prevent violence here in the city?
So I have a few ideas, but I always want to challenge people because people think that police reform is the end all be all. But you got to remember, you're trying to revamp 100-year-old system based on slave catchers. And so it's like the 100-year-old system is not going to change. They could pass a law tomorrow, then it has to be implemented. Then all the cops got to be trained. And then you still got the bad apples as the trainers. So I'll start with that. But some of the things that I would suggest, and these are all part of consent decree that my firm was instrumental in getting passed, that the city of Chicago has completely ignored. The first thing that comes to mind is mental health, because a lot of times police are responding to mental health crises, but they don't have any mental health training. And so a good friend of mine from high school, Erica Kendrick, actually participates in that mental health training. But the problem is this: it's optional. So if you're a police officer, you could be on the force 20, 30 years, you get called to a scene, maybe you got this training, maybe you don't have this training. Maybe nobody on your shift has this training. Nobody, and that's the problem, is if this, they call it crisis intervention training. If nobody has the crisis intervention training, who is on shift at the time that you receive the call in the area of the city where the call comes in, then what good does it do? So the very first thing that I would say, because I've had clients who were mentally ill, like my worst case ever was a Puerto Rican kid. He was large for his age. He was like 6'2" and I don't know, close to 300 pounds. And he had a history of mental illness. His mom thought he was suicidal. She called for help, specifically called for medical help, but who responds instead is CPD. And within 90 seconds of being in his home, they tasered him twice and shot him in the chest and killed him.
Wow.
And she called for help. And so we get these calls all the time. Well, wait a minute, I called for help because my loved one was having some sort of episode. My loved one needed to be taken to the psych ward. And police don't come with that intention. They come to neutralize the threat.
A threat, yes.
Yeah. This whole notion of negotiation that you see, on TV and all these different movies, they're going to send a negotiator and the negotiator going to talk to you for 8 hours. That just simply doesn't happen in the average, run of the mill domestic violence call or mental health crisis call. It just doesn't happen. Police are taught to come, react quickly, get the situation under control quickly, and to use force. And so I warn people that if you call 911 for a mental health crisis, prepare for your loved one to either be hurt or for you to be hurt. Yes. I've had people who called who said, yeah, I restrained this person and, I held them for the police, and then the police beat me over the head and took me to the police station. And then the mentally ill person was left in the house by themselves. So those situations can go really badly, and that can be changed quickly due to a change in training. But I think so much of it is built on this 100-year history of racism. I think so much of it is built on this city being so segregated. And why do you I lived in Roseland or Rosemore for years. Why is every police car driving through this all Black neighborhood filled with white boys? Why are they 3 and 4 deep in their 30s? They don't live here. They don't bother to know Miss Jenkins, who owns the cleaners. They don't bother to get out and meet Mr. Jones, who has the barbecue shack on the corner. If you don't know the community, don't just pounce on the community to make an arrest and then scurry back off to your home in the northwest suburbs or wherever it is you live. And so that's a problem. I think the other solution is community policing. So if you have people of different races in these communities, they got to get out their cars, they got to walk the beat, they got to get to know these little boys, these little brown boys on the corner. And that way, if you see that Jamal or Ricky or whoever is in trouble, you go to his grandma first and have a conversation.
Right.
Your knee-jerk response is not to lock him up and to ruin his life. It's to have a conversation, because now you know his family members, you know his aunties, and you know somebody else who can snatch him up and have a conversation as opposed to locking him up.
That's what you call old school, right? So I remember. So when I was a cop, I'll say this, and I can speak on this by being a police officer. People have to realize that cops are scared when they come to a situation, and they come to neutralize the threat. And they're always thinking, this was my thought, I'm going home. But this is the thing that I didn't like about the police force. One of the reasons I left the police force is that I tried to be on a tag team, but they wouldn't put me on a tag team in the neighborhood where I fit in, where I can help. But they would put these white boys in there. Nothing against white people, but I'm just speaking in general about this. They put these white boys in there that aren't from there, don't look like they're from there. If they didn't have that gun and badge, they wouldn't go in there. And when they do go in, they're already scared. This is why people get shot right away, because they're already scared. And what do you think they're going to do first? They're going to pull the trigger first. And when you understand, when you look at the demographics and you look at what's needed, and when you're talking about police reform, then you need to put people that look like us in these situations. I can't tell you how many times I was able to neutralize a threat or a situation because I treated them the right way. I knew how to communicate with them, and I'm from the hood. So everything that you're saying is these are the things that we need. So kudos to you, because I have a couple more questions, but before we get to them, I didn't even realize. Look, we're already almost at 30 minutes, and we always go over because it's good stuff and it's necessary and it's needed. But everybody, you're watching the Simeon Henderson Show, where we're giving a voice to the people. We have attorney April Preyar on with us today. She's a creator, she's an inventor, and she's doing a lot in the neighborhoods to help us build, be aware, and grow. So we're going to come back. But right now, we have to do what we do every week. We have to go to our Chicago Fly Guy with the top 5 things that you need to know right here on the Simeon Henderson Show. And we have to pay a couple of the bills. We want to say what's up to our executive producer, Jamani and Amdi, Jose Perez, Earl, the other Winfrey, Intellectual Radio, iHeartRadio, everybody involved with making this thing click and go. We appreciate you and we love you guys. But without further ado, let's get right into it with our Chicago Fly Guy, because he always has something good for us. Let's see what he has to say.
Yes, it's your Chicago Fly Guy, bringing you the top 5 things that you need to know right here on the Simeon Henderson Show. Number 5, Black Girl Magic. Jalen Jackson and Imani Stanton. These 2 ladies are out of Atlanta, and they are the first black girl duo to win the Harvard International Debate Competition. Congratulations, ladies. Chicago Fly Guy is proud of you. Number 4, will the real TLC stand up? SWV's lead singer, Coco Clemens, said that TLC was the original name for Sisters with Voices. Now, did Chili, T-Boz, and Lisa Left Eye Lopez take SWV's name? Well, here's how you guys can resolve it. In a versus battle. I know where I got my money, Coco. Number 3, the Olympics is taking a hit in Tokyo. COVID is moving in. A lot of Olympians have tested positive, and so we wish you all safe travels and a safe return home, COVID-free. Number 2, tennis great Naomi Osaka blast Megyn Kelly out the gate. She came for the Fox News journalist, telling her, "You're a journalist. We expect better. Do better. Fact check when you want to report on me." Oh, Osaka came for Megyn. Megan, if I were you, I would watch out for a flying tennis racket. Can you bob and weave? Number 1. We lost a hip-hop legend with Biz Markie. Y'all remember Biz? Biz brought us Can You Feel It? Nothing can save you, for this is the season for catching the vapors. And he brought us Just a Friend. Biz, we send our love and heartfelt condolences to you and your family, and may you rest in peace. God bless. I'm the Chicago Fly Guy, and these have been the top 5 things, of course, you need to know right here on the Simeon Henderson Show.
Make sure you tune into the Simeon Henderson Show every week, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Simeon Henderson Show, and make sure you like the Facebook. We'll see you soon on the Simeon Henderson Show, where we're giving a voice to the people. All right, everybody. That's our very own Chicago Fly Guy. He always excites us. I never know what he's going to talk about.
That was great.
I never know what is. So it's always a surprise to me when the people see it. So I never get to watch. I purposely wait to watch it with you guys. I always think it's so cool. So this interview has been going really well. I just have a couple more questions for you. You've been giving us a wealth of knowledge, and your insight is awesome. It's unbelievable just how much knowledge you have and insight you have on these issues. But what I want to ask you is this: talk to us about your role as a defense attorney.
Okay, so I love the question that I get at almost every dinner party that I went to, at least pre-COVID. How do you represent somebody who you know is guilty? Well, see, this is the thing. Everybody in America has the same rights, and we are all entitled to a zealous defense. So if somebody is guilty, does that mean we just do a firing squad on the spot? Do we just hang them on the scene? No, they're entitled to a trial. They're entitled to having the prosecution prove their case against them. And you'd be amazed at how often, whether the person is guilty or not, the prosecution drops the ball or the police drop the ball in terms of their investigation. And then there's only so much that the prosecution can do to clean it up. So, but my primary goal is to advocate and to translate, because what happens is if you're a defendant in a case and you're standing at the bench and you're standing next to your lawyer, all these words fly over your head. You're like, just what happened? Your life is on the line, and you have people speaking at you in a different language. You have no idea what charges you're facing. You have no idea what the judge just said. You don't know what the prosecutor just said. And so big part of my job is just translating and breaking down the terms in a really simple language so that anybody can understand. And then you can make an informed decision about what you want to do. Do you want to plead guilty? Do you want to go to trial? What type of trial do you want to have? Do you want to have a trial in front of a jury? Do you want to have a trial in front of a judge? If all these words are flying past you and a lot of them are fancy Latin words, you don't even know what's happening. You can't make a decision. And then obviously my job is to advocate, and I am a fighter. And so I go in with my gloves on, ready to knock out the prosecution. And I have a lot of success with that. I win often for my clients. And there's just nothing like the gratitude that I receive and that I feel from my clients when even if I don't win the case, they see somebody really fought for them. Somebody really believed in them. Somebody really had their back. And that makes the difference.
Yes, yes. And another thing too, when you have to defend someone, you don't know if they did it or not.
Yeah.
Unless you were there, or unless they told you. So if they're telling you I didn't do it, you can't sit up and say you did do it. You have to believe them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like, a lot of these crimes are not captured on video, or the body cameras are not nearly as clear as you think they are, or the surveillance camera only shows part of what happened. And so oftentimes that's all I'm presented with. And if my client is saying, no, I absolutely didn't do this, and all the evidence against him doesn't really show whether he did or didn't, or isn't really that clear, I'm absolutely going to win that case, because the prosecution, again, has to be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And that's the highest burden in the land. It can't be a hunch. It can't be, well, I think he did it, or I think he's a bad guy, or I don't like how he's looking. And these are a lot of things that jurors think. They're like, oh, well, he was in the wrong place and with the wrong people, so he probably did something wrong, or he has a background, so he probably did this too. No, none of those are the considerations that you're supposed to have in front of you. Did this person commit this crime, and did the prosecution prove it up? And you'll be amazed at how often they fail to meet their burden.
So I'm going to ask you a question. Have you, and I don't know if you can answer it or not, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Have you ever been in a situation where you won a case, but deep down in your gut, you felt that the person you were defending was guilty? That's why I say I don't know if you can answer that, how to answer that. It's just a question, because I know someone would ask that question to you, and someone probably has asked that question to you, and I'm asking it for the world.
I'm trying to think. I thought of a specific instance. So sometimes evidence gets excluded for technical legal reasons. And so say the jury doesn't hear about it. And so I'm thinking of one particular situation where it was a DUI. My guy blew over the legal limit, but we were able to keep his breathalyzer out. And so we presented the case. There was no mention of the breathalyzer, and we won. So technically, was he guilty? Absolutely. But the jury never heard about that because we were able to keep that evidence out, again, because the police had messed some things up. They had missed some steps, and we were. So yeah, there are times when someone who committed a crime is not found guilty of that crime. Absolutely.
Okay. Cool. So let me ask this question: where can citizens be directed to learn their lawful rights as citizens? So where can they go to find out their lawful rights as citizens? Because a lot of times, a lot of people just don't know their rights. They don't know what to do or what to say. Where can people find it out?
So like I said, my board game would be a good place to start in terms of your civil rights when it comes to interacting with police and what your rights are in the criminal justice system. That would be a great place to start. 2, you can also check out my Facebook page, because I still do the videos. I do them on, hot topics, or if there's something in the media, and then I also do it to just break down the general terms that I was just talking about, that the legalese that people don't understand. And then the third one is I'm introducing something new on Friday. I'm launching that will be an opportunity for teens to learn in their homes, to get a crash course in this material without having to watch my 200 Facebook videos, without having to go on Google and YouTube and try to find the answers. So those are 3 good places to start. So if they just follow me on Facebook, they'll get a lot of those questions answered.
And you can follow him on Facebook at Just Us Junkie. That's on Facebook and IG. And what I would like to do, we're doing, we have the 2nd annual Be Symbolic Scholarship Golf outing coming up in August. And what I would like you to do, if you can, and we'll talk about it later, but I would love for you to be a sponsor. The sponsorship is nil. It's really nothing. It's so low. But I would also like to get a board game to get to the recipient, because I think that young people need to see these your game, which is educational. It's educational, and they get to see different scenarios, right? And I think so we need to start getting involved, and we have to support each other and push this out there, because a lot of people just don't know. And I love the name Trials and Triumph. I love that because there's going to be trials, but you can triumph. And I always say no one is immune to the trials and tribulations of life. So we have to learn how to triumph, right? So thank you so much. And tell people one more time where they can reach you and how they can get in touch with you. Okay,
awesome. Well, first they can get the game at justicejunkie.store, JUSTUSJUNKIE. And then you can follow me at the same Justice Junkie on Facebook. I'm way more active on Facebook than IG. If you go to IG, you will be sorely disappointed. But I do have a presence there as well. But I post all my videos on Facebook, and I post articles, and anything related to the police, to criminal law, to civil rights will be on my page. And so that is a great place to follow me.
So did you say justicejunkie.com?
Oh, that store. It doesn't matter. They can go to either one. It'll lead them the same place.
I just want to put it up really quick. Justusjunkie.store
Yes.
for the board game, right? I
Yes.
love technology nowadays because you can do everything so quick and it's right there. So I want people to see where they can get that. So everybody, Justusjunkie dot store for the board game, and also remember at Just Us Junkie on Facebook and IG, where you can see my friend April. And it's so funny, guys, how you know people and you're connected with people, and it's such a pleasure to know you and be friends with you, April, because you're doing big things. But um, I just think the education that you're providing for people and the outlet for them to learn more and know and know their rights, I think it's amazing. It's outstanding, and people really need to pay attention. These are the type of shows we have to have. That's why I refuse to go to the buffoonery, and I want to continue to give a voice to the people and educate people and motivate them to win in life. And that's what it's about. And you know that as a speaker.
I do. Thank you. This is such a great platform. Like, this is really a great show, and I really commend you for what you're doing. I'm super proud of you. I flip on my TV and there you are. But I didn't know that you were also doing this to empower us and to give exposure to us who have grassroots operations going. So I really do appreciate that and appreciate you.
And we thank you, and we want the Simeon Henderson Show wants you to continue to encourage and inspire people and educate people to become successful. God bless you. And anything you need, you can always reach out. I'm a phone call away, and we're going to continue, and we're going to do some work together, because it's time for us to make what we do the norm and make it popular, because this is what's going to show people how to be their best and how to win and be successful. There's a lot of different ways, people, that you can win, and you can make money winning, and you can also help people while you're doing it. So we're going to be here to lead the way. People like April, my buddy Mel Robb, Sarita Love, and Katrina Ferguson, all the people that we work with, and we're going to continue to do it. Can you tell everybody about your event that's going to be in August?
Oh, sure. So I also do business coaching with Mel. Like you mentioned, I have 2 business partners, and we're doing a unique event. It's not a master class. It's really going to be hands-on coaching where we take your business down to the studs, rip it to shreds in the course of a day, and then reset it, identify all the gaps, and then set you up to powerfully increase your income immediately after that day with us. So we're calling it our VIP day, or our rapid revenue rehab. And so we're inviting any business owners to get on board, to connect with us on that. And you can contact me at the same place on Facebook, and then I can link you up with that information. But it's on August 7th, and it'll be from 10 to 3.
I'll be at the rapid revenue rehab. I'll be there. And if you look above your head, you see that guy, see that police officer?
Huh? Oh, yeah. I'm sitting here like, how'd you do that?
That's me when I graduated out of the academy.
Oh, wow, you're a baby. Look at that.
Yeah. So I had to show you that. I thought you would
That's
get it.
hilarious. I'm like, what? How'd you get on my wall?
I thought you would get a kick out of that, so I just wanted to show you that. Everybody, justusjunkie.store for the board game, and at justusjunkie on Facebook and IG. Check out my girl. She's doing big things, and she is here to help you, and she will educate you. And if you need a defense attorney, bam, call her. I'm pretty sure, especially if you are innocent, she'll get you off, okay? So thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your patience with me and laughing and showing those pearly whites. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And we look forward to seeing you again on the Simeon Henderson Show. But everything that you're doing, we're going to support.
Thank you so much. This was great.
Everybody, attorney, creator, and inventor, April Preyar, right here on the Simeon Henderson Show. Follow her and support her. She's doing great things. So thank you guys so much for tuning into the Simeon Henderson Show, where we're giving Voice of the People, I have to start letting you guys know that we have the second annual Be Symbolic Scholarship Golf Outing August 15th. For tickets or sponsorship, text 323-244-9601 or email the Simeon Henderson Show at Gmail. Sponsorship is only $100 and tickets are $75. You get food, you get drinks, and you get a Be Symbolic second annual scholarship outing polo. You get a game of golf, and it's a great time. We had a good time. So I want you guys to continue to support the show. If you'd like to be a guest, hit us up at the Simeon Henderson Show at Gmail or call us at the number that's scrolling across the screen. Text us at the number, and that number is 323-244-9601. I thank you guys so much. Shout out to our guest today, April, and our Chicago Fly Guy, our executive producer, Jamani and Amdi, Jose Perez, Earl the Other Winfrey, and our creative director and producer, the Fly Guy. We will see you guys later, and thank you for tuning into the Simeon Henderson Show, where we're giving a voice to the people. See you later.